All right, guys, welcome back to Only Cavalry, the game where I can only build cavalry. So, I mentioned that I did do this once before, and you can go check out my other game um, further back in the playlists. And it was a smashing success, but I did allow myself to build artillery because I thought you couldn't win a game without artillery. So, this game was almost a joke. I thought, I'll probably die, and I still might die. Don't get me wrong. It's, late in the game is when everyone's got artillery and I won't have any. So, we'll see what kind of song I'm singing then. But I got to say, as of now, let me see how many cavalry I have altogether now. I have 44 cavalry on the map, and I'm still churning them out. I come back every, several hours, and, every 10 or so hours, I can build 4 or 5 more cavalry. So just keep them coming. And really, I'm kind of hoping. By the way, this does suck. All of our potential enemies over here in the New World. Anybody who plays this 31 map knows that it usually comes down to the New World versus Europe. Sometimes the Middle East sides with one or the other, and that's usually pretty pivotal, pretty important. My microphone's like getting wobbly. All right, you don't care about that. Anyway, but now only Greenland and Iceland are left here. Yep. So Greenland, my friend, is still here. He's not my friend. I don't know him. But maybe he could be a friend someday. You know what I'm talking about? Friendship. All right. So really, there's not much to say. I just kind of want to show you what's going on here. And I wanted to show you a tactic I've been using here lately a lot. In fact, I'm going to do a tips and tactic on this tactic. And I'm calling it the skewer. And it's something that I've heard people who are talking about the flower doing. And then I give some props to Benaiah because he was the first one I heard talking about it. Although this game's been around for so long, we're not inventing the wheel over here. I'm sure people knew about this before, but it's gonna come to our group. It's gonna come to our community because I've been doing it. I've been using it successfully. So I call it the skewer. Here's what you do: grab a stack that has the maximum efficiency troops. So for cavalry and infantry, it's 5 and 5. So if you send 5 and 5, I believe you get 19. See if I have any stacks of 5 and 5. There were some stacks that were big enough that I could send 5 and 5. No. Okay. Pretty sure it's 19, though. It's pretty nice. Pretty decent. But remember, anything above 5, they have to stand on the second row behind the front 5, and they have reduced power, reduced damage. So the idea here is, and why the reason I only have 2 per stack is I want to send them in individual stacks with the 5 infantry. So again, what you do, click on it, separate out however many you want to send, in this case 5 and 2, and you move command beyond. Can you see the arrow over here? Move through the fort and beyond. Now, the reason I'm using skewer, I've been using it all over the place in this game, is because I don't have any cannon, and I never will. And so I'm throwing organic, bio troops against concrete. And so what I really need is for each of those troops to have the maximum possible attack power. And so each of these, if you trace the arrow tips, you can see each of them, as I rotate around here, is attacking through to a slightly different location outside. I don't know if it has to be a different location, but I'm doing that just to be sure, just to be safe. Because what I don't want to do is I don't want them to join back together at some point in their trip into a single stack. So as long as you locate them to different locations, they will not gather back together. So that's kind of a big and important part of this. So what happens, though, instead of the first stack arriving and attacking, and then the second stack, which is normally what happens if you just attack command on a fort, the second stack shows up soon after and just joins the first stack waiting to attack. They don't attack as soon as they get there. And it's very frustrating because that happens over and over again where, you're sending in wave after wave of troops. And if the first troops are still waiting 30 minutes to attack next, then whoever joins the stack has to wait 30 minutes too. They don't get to attack as soon as they get there. It's kind of a big waste of potential force that they're all just kind of standing there. They got there, 25 minutes ago, and they're just standing there to wait for the next attack, even though they haven't attacked at all, in this battle. So by move commanding them through to different locations, what you're doing, you can see all those different arrows through to different locations. As soon as they arrive, they will attack, and they will never gather into the same stack because, remember, they're all heading to different locations. So the game AI, the movement AI or algorithm or whatever, it will never stack them together because they're headed to different locations. And what that means is, I was kind of hoping, nope. I was kind of hoping to have an example here, but it's such a good method that when I checked this like 20 minutes ago, I still hadn't taken this. And now, let me leave one guy there for morale's sake. Oop, I just left all guys there. Sweet. That's just great. So good. Come on, buddy. I'm going to move them here to take on this one, but the reason I've got so many there is that I do want to make sure to 32 and 6. Yeah, I do want to make sure to go ahead and attack that island. So I'm coming over here to attack this guy right here, and then I'll go ahead and jump over to this island with these guys and maybe attack down to the Middle East. I haven't really thought about it. These guys need to stay there to protect morale, and these guys are going with the skewer over here. So again, what it looks like once these guys arrive is it's just going to be like, when you look at it, it's going to be like 5 groups of 3 or 4, because yes, each individual troop does get to attack and inflict damage, but the core group in here, the defenders, also get a counterattack on every single troop you send in there. So that's kind of an important thing to realize as well, that if you send in one big stack, you will take fewer casualties as well. So there is a cost to this, but it's fast. You bomb them down fast. Now, some people use the flower technique with this, which is to say literally 1 unit at a time. So instead of, these stacks of 5, and then some of them have some cavalry in there to stiffen them up, to say, instead of that, like literally like 35 individual infantry and 6 individual cavalry, and all of them routed to locations, move routed, right? Not attack commanded, but move commanded. This guy right here, to locations beyond the fort. And so some people are really sold on that. There might be something to that. I don't know. I worry about it because, like I say, when I come back later, all these guys will be attacking. They'll all be separate stacks, and all of them will be knocked down by a couple, like at least 2, probably usually about 2 units get knocked down for each one of those stacks. So all of them are going to be like, these 5s will be 3s, and these 7 will be, maybe 6 or something. And maybe I'll lose a cavalry here and there. But the point being, if you send in 1, he gets his full attack, but he dies. Next one, full attack, dies. You might lose more if you send them in 1 at a time. I just don't know. I am an old student of overwhelming force. I feel like when you attack, you should attack with as much as you can, because you take out more enemies, and the more enemies you take out, the less of them are left next round to attack you or to counterattack you, right? So it's just round by round, the more you knock them down, the less troops you will lose, right? So what I'm trying to do, earlier I did make an attack. I think it was this one, or no, it was the one before this one. It was the one I believe was up here, yeah. Because what I did up here is I split my troops into stacks, so I had 12. Anyway, I'm babbling. I had enough cavalry to attack him with stacks of 5 infantry and 5 cavalry. And I love that because that's maximum punch. Like I said, 19 attack power per stack, and I had like 4 or 5 of those. And that's what I'm going to be hitting, if and when I eventually go to the New World. I mean, I've got a lot of attacking to do through here. And so that's my immediate plan, is to just cut a swath through all of this and just basically conquer the world. And then once I do that, I can think about what to do with the New World. But obviously, what I want to do with the New World is go over there with like 100 cavalry and 500 infantry, and just start building fun stacks. Again, the ideal stack to do the skewer with, in my opinion, is 5 infantry and 5 cavalry. If you are playing a normal game, a normal ass game, then I would say 5 infantry, 5 cavalry, 5 tanks, and then as many cannon as you want, because cannon do not suffer the same limitations because cannon have such a vast range. They don't have to worry about being in front to attack effectively. They can be, in fact, they usually are way back attacking effectively. So you do not lose for additional artillery. You don't lose any additional power. But any ground troops, any troops that are on the ground fighting out of trenches, they are limited because there's just only enough ground space for, say, a rifleman to effectively attack. And then the riflemen who are, an additional, who knows, like 50 meters back in the second line, they're just way less effective at attacking. So, I wish, like, to me, it'd be so fun. Maybe I can do this in one of my bigger games. It'd be so fun to skewer in 5 infantry, 5 cavalry, 5 tanks, and 5 heavy tanks. It would just be the maximum, like these small strike units with just maximum power. I don't even know how much power that would be, but a lot. Just in those sort of 20 units that I described, 5, 5, 5, and 5, you could really punch in hard and not really depend so heavily on your artillery. And the good thing about that, there's a couple good things about that. Number one, it's faster. You don't have to wait for that slow-ass artillery. I'd love to build an army like this. Just a fast, punch-you-in-the-face land army. And the other good thing about it, of course, not only is it faster than waiting for the artillery and then waiting for them to bomb out everything, but also you do less damage to the province. Artillery, you end up bombing out things that you could actually use. Sometimes if you're not paying attention, you bomb everything out. So there used to be a level 4 factory and an airfield, and now there's not. Now there's nothing. Used to have a railway, now it doesn't. So a lot to be said for that. So I'm going to go ahead and make a tips and tactics about this. But before we leave, let's just go ahead and check and see how we're doing. How are we doing? Well, let's see. Oh, my word. So, I thought this would be a successful game. I was certainly worried about artillery. So artillery have been on the map. If you think about it, you can build a factory on day 8. That factory will be done on day 10, which means when you build your first cannon, it always takes 4 days. So your first cannon can be built on day 14. Now, there is a way to make it faster. And you can actually get a cannon on day 13, 1 day faster. Turn that first 4-day cannon into a 3-day cannon. And it's not a cheat. It's a game mechanic. And you'll have to go over to tips and tactics to see how to do that. It is in my Uncle Spankerton's Just the Tips. Go check it out. Just the Tips, by the way, if you want to get a nice dose of game-changing tips, go over to Uncle Spankerton's Just the Tips in my Tips and Tactics playlist. It hasn't gotten as much traction as my harbors and my and my railways videos. And I think because people tend to search, 1914 railways, and they find that game. But really, what I'm talking about, Uncle Spankerton's Just the Tips, that is all the tips that I wish I knew when I first started playing. There, each and every one of those are game-changing tips. Tips that like really made me a much better player, just knowing that particular thing. And how to build a cannon 1 day faster than everyone else is in that stack. So go check it out. All right, so it is kind of ridiculous. Just looking at the newspaper. Wow. I mean, really. And this is my ally here. So second place is my buddy. And the only enemy, Southern USA, is gone. East Libya is AI. So Greenland. All right, the only enemy on the map, my only enemy on the map, is 86 to my 555. Holy crap. I have 7 times. Wow. I mean, and honestly, anybody who's played in the subscriber games with me knows I'm a mediocre player at best. Like I don't, uh, I don't die early on, but I'm not. I'm almost never one of the top 3 in the coalition of 7. I'm talking about a 500 player sub game that we play over in my Discord, and sometimes I cast those. You'll find those on this channel as well. But anyway, so yeah, I'm just saying, honestly, Cavalry are OP, man. They're just nuts. Again, I feel like I'm a good player. I know a lot of tips and tactics and a lot of strategies and whatnot, and I try to employ them. I'm fairly alert. Like I keep on top of my game. I'll check during my morning break, during my lunch, during my afternoon break, and after work, and before work. So I'm checking it 5 times a day, and then in the evenings. So I'm active and I know what I'm doing. But there are people who really like this game. When you get to the highest levels, there are people who are experts on morale. Morale makes a huge difference. And then lately, I've been digging on popularity. Popularity makes a huge difference. I'm about to do another tips and tactics on popularity. It's way more important than you think it is. All right. Thanks for checking in, guys. This game is fun. That is not your alerts. That is mine. I think I've got system volume on. I shouldn't. There's no point to it. Ooh, you know what? I was actually watching somebody, and they were doing one of these videos. I'm going to turn this back on. I never even knew this. I always, in every game, go straight to the sound effects and turn them off because it's distracting to me. Listen to that. The old winds are blowing. And then he's like, I mean, why is it not a, it's just a, he's just had it. He's just like, I'm through with this shit. All right. Anyway, I think I'll leave the sound effects on for the videos in the future because it's pretty cool. It's like sort of, ambient trance war background. All right. Thanks for checking in, guys, to Only Cavalry. I'll just let you know, I'm going to finish up this war here, complete it, and start to kind of consolidate everything towards over here, and then just loop around, not in any real hurry here. So I probably just will come back to you guys when I attack into here. And I think what I'll do is I'll go ahead and demonstrate how I build that skewer, because by then I'll have a ton of stuff here, lots and lots of cavalry, and I'll build 2 skewers. I'll attack over. Oh, I can build 3. There are roads to all 3 of these territories, so I'll have enough here where I can really just launch a 3-pronged attack into this country and really ruin their day. All right, thanks for checking in, guys. I'll see y'all next time. Adios, amigos.